Sabbat. Anyone who has played Bloodlines 1 knows they are the antagonist of the Camarilla and are despised by the Anarchs.
The Sabbat, well, they're mostly mindless, bloodthirsty assholes. That's all you need to know for now, alright?
During the tutorial of the game, the player character must cut their teeth by learning to kill the various Sabbat vampires. Kill or be killed. In this video, we're going to talk about the Sabbat, how they were founded, their motivations, and their possible involvement in Bloodlines 2. Hello, and welcome back to Masquerade Monday and a new lore video all about everyone's favorite bad guys, the Sabbat. Like the Camarilla and the Anarchs, the Sabbat are an organization of Cainites, comprised of a variety of vampire clans. Notice I said Cainites, not kindred. I did that because Sabbat outright reject the term kindred, due in part because unlike the Camarilla, they are firm believers in Caine, going so far as to call themselves the Sword of Caine, believing they will be the army Caine will use upon the arrival of Gehenna, the vampiric end of days. The founding of the Sabbat goes all the way back to 1493, the same time of the founding of the Camarilla. The leaders of the Sabbat were comprised of two clans, the Cimici and the La Sombra, two clans who deserve videos in their own right. By this time, the Cimici and La Sombra had destroyed their own clan founders and were in no mood to surrender any of their accumulated power or lands, refusing to bow to or negotiate with elders of other clans, or with those who had capitulated to form the Camarilla. Instead, those who would form the Sabbat became united by their shared hatred of and desire for warfare against all antediluvians, the progenitors of all the clans, and any vampire who was embraced before the Great Flood.
No one I know has ever met one, but each of the clans and their bloodlines supposedly trace their origin to an original vampire, an antediluvian. Some swear these grandsires still exist into the present, but then kindred and kind believe a lot of strange things,
including all of their descendants who had fallen in line with the Camarilla, or really, any who didn't share their ideals. This malice towards those outside of their group, their sect, has shaped the Sabbat into what we see in Bloodlines 1 and the Vampire the Masquerade books. Their history is rife with territorial disputes, civil wars, and grand plans to bring down their enemies. I believe this will play out in Bloodlines 2, as many of you pointed out in my Thin Blood lore video, which you can watch here. I believe the Sabbat will descend on Seattle to perform their mass embrace in an attempt to destabilize the Camarilla and its hierarchy. It will be a great night for them, to be sure. But there is more to the Sabbat than this image of barbarous, ultra-violent fiends. It's true they do indulge in their vampiric nature, refusing, for example, to wear the rags of humans or to act as slaves and patsies to their elders, and consider humans to be little more than food. But since they reject all the morals and humanity they once held as Caine, they adhere instead to philosophical tenets meant to control the beast enough to allow a stable, or at least sane, day-to-day existence. The Sabbat even have a code of conduct called the Code of Milan that includes laws such as the Sabbat shall remain united in its support of the sex regent. If necessary, a new regent shall be elected. The regent shall support relief from tyranny, granting all Sabbat freedom. All Sabbat shall do their best to serve their leaders as long as said leaders serve the will of the regent. All Sabbat shall keep their word of honor to one another. All Sabbat must keep the good of the sect before their own personal needs despite all costs. Those who are not honorable under this code will be considered less than equal and therefore unworthy of assistance. All Sabbat shall protect one another from the enemies of the sect. Personal enemies shall remain personal responsibility unless they undermine sect security. All sect members shall protect Sabbat territory from all other powers. The spirit of freedom shall be the fundamental principle of the sect. All Sabbat shall expect and demand freedom from their leaders. All Sabbat have the right to monitor the behavior and activities of their fellow sect members in order to maintain freedom and security. All Sabbat possess the right to call a council of their peers and their immediate leaders. Honestly, these are rules I can get behind, and I can understand why some vampires would gravitate toward a group who professes this as their doctrine. But it's not all diplomacy and honor in places ruled by the Sabbat. Their territories and cities lack the quiet of a Camarilla court. Instead, tensions are always high, and crimes such as murder, robbery, and rape are commonplace, not at all aided by the known practice of the Sabbat to ambush unsuspecting humans, embrace them, then force them through horrific trials to strip them of their remaining humanity, turning them into perfect new members for their sect.
The Sabbat, you see, they don't have the most rigorous training program. In fact, that poor sod is lucky if he knows he's a vampire. He's probably just turned and beaten over the head. They like to do that, make shock troops, cannon fodder.
Every night you wake up, be thankful you were not sired by one of their kind, or you would have woken under the ground, forced to claw your way up from the dirt into a brief, bloody, violent existence. Savages. Bloodthirsty, irresponsible heathens.
According to the 20th anniversary edition of Vampire the Masquerade, the Camarilla views Sabbat territories like this. A Sabbat city is like a third world country run by demon worshippers. Trust me, we're doing the right thing, hunting those bastards down. The Anarchs say they dress up blood bonds and religious fanaticism as freedom. Some of the newer recruits dig the violence and the bad boy attitude, but I see what's really going on. And those vampires who call themselves independent say, one day you're their friend, and the next they're trying to rip your face off because you said the wrong thing. If you play ball with the Sabbat, play hard or go home. Hearing this, it's not hard to believe the Sabbat are entirely unified. Instead, many have broken up or been broken up into smaller factions underneath the Sabbat banner, such as a special militia called the Black Hand and an Inquisition force, among others. But through all of this, the thread that holds the Sabbat together is their zeal to tear down their enemies and to be ready to embrace their roles in Gehenna as the Sword of Caine, eager to claim their place as the rightful vampiric lords of the night. There's so much more to say about the Sabbat, the intricacies of their rituals and practices, the hierarchies of their sect and the factions within it, and the history that led them from disillusioned ragtag groups to a fully realized force. But now I want to hear your thoughts about the Sabbat in the comment section below. What do you think their role will be in Bloodlines 2? Do you think we'll get to join or side with them at some point? Was there anything important to Sabbat lore that I totally missed in this video? What lore video would you like to see next? I make videos multiple times a week, and every Monday is Masquerade Monday. So if you don't want to miss out on my next video, consider hitting that subscribe button. I want to thank you so very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!